Chapter 11 Reporting my name can get a discount. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Aaron had a smug face as he walked out of Ollivander's wand shop. As he wished, he got 2 wands from his uncle, one pure white made of vine wood and unicorn feathers, and one pure black made of yew wood and dragon's nerve. Uncle Jeans, this is called extraordinary talent. Now you believe that I can reach the level of a magister before graduation. Aaron said triumphantly. This, with all due respect, the wizarding world has never been short of talented wizards. This only proves that you are ahead of some people, but the road after that is often full of uncertainty. Cut, it's a shame, can't you say something nice to make me happy? No, good advice is often harsh. Jin said with a faint smile, next, you should go buy a uniform, we'll just go and pick it up. I gave Mrs. Malkin your size 2 weeks ago and I'm sure she has it ready for you. Aaron touched Abe's little head. Uncle Jeans, although I don't want to ask, but have you prepared Abe's clothes? Jeans looked at the young dragon in Aaron's arms, silently thinking of the little guy's wardrobe. His cheeks twitched. It's no longer needed. The master and madam liked it very much, and prepared more than 20 sets of clothes for it, and there were 5 or 6 sets of clothes for each season throughout the year. Honestly, you probably wouldn't have as many clothes as this if you were going to school. Besides, Mrs. Maugin doesn't make clothes for pets either. Is that so? Abe nodded fiercely. More than 20 sets are enough, and it really can't replace it with such a small body. All right then. Let's get the clothes first, Aaron said. 2 minutes later, the two walked into Madame Malkin's robe shop. A fat woman in a purple robe laughed as soon as she entered the door. I thought you guys weren't coming. How can it be? Hogwarts might not let me in without a uniform. I didn't expect our little boss to go to school. Mrs. Malkin smiled, and then asked a witch to fetch Aaron's clothes, 3 sets of black plain work robes, and a black day wear a plain peaked hat, a pair of protective gloves and a winter cloak. Your name tag, I put it on your clothes, do you want to try it first? I don't need this, I have, % confidence in the craftsmanship of your store. Aaron smiled and stretched out his hands to take a large pile of clothes from himself, and handed them to the butler beside him. At this time, a little girl in a black magic robe came out from the back of the shop. She had thick brown hair and was full of confidence, like a proud white swan. This little girl is also a freshman at Hogwarts. Would you like me to introduce you to her? Madame Malkin teased. This. Aaron raised his eyebrows, and just as he was about to say hello to this future classmate, he found her walking straight over, but they didn't come to look for him, but directly hugged Abe who was on the ground. So cute. Aaron was stunned for a moment. Who am I, where am I, what am I going to do? 3 big question marks floated over Aaron's head. It doesn't make sense. He was a handsome young master who was actually robbed of the limelight by a pet. I have something to do, so I'll leave first. Mrs. Malkin was a little embarrassed, and a little red was added to her fat face. Jeans couldn't help covering his mouth, and it could be seen that he was working very hard to hold back his laughter. Ahem. Aaron looked at the girl with a stern face. Although I appreciate your gaze, it seems a bit inappropriate to pick up his pet without the owner's permission. Be polite. The girl froze for a moment, her ears turned red, and said awkwardly, sorry, I thought this kitten was unowned. Aaron was a little bit dumbfounded. If you have this kind of thought next time, please check if it is wearing clothes. No matter how you look at it, Abe has nothing to do with stray cats. So it's called Abe. That doesn't matter, what matters is whether you can give it back to me first. The girl looked at the cat in her arms, feeling a little reluctant for a while. Forget it, if you want to hug, just hug for a while. Aaron said helplessly. After all, he is a future classmate, and the one being hugged didn't raise any objections, but enjoyed it. You're going to Hogwarts too, aren't you? Yes, school will start in 3 days. The girl said excitedly, and then extended her right hand to the handsome little boy in front of her. Meet me, my name is Hermione Granger. Aaron Gaius. Aaron shook hands, then suddenly thought of something, his eyes widened. What did you say your name was? Hermione Granger, is there a question? No, of course it's okay. Aaron smiled. He never thought that he would be able to meet the heroine before school started, and he was not mentally prepared at all. "Did you come to Diagon Alley alone?" "No, my parents are here too. I'm waiting for them here. They are more curious about this place, and they are still wandering around now." "I see." Aaron nodded. In his memory, Hermione was born in a Muggle family, and it was reasonable for her parents to be curious about the magical world that they never knew about. "Then have you finished shopping for the necessities for school?" "Other things have been bought, and there is only one wand left." Hermione said expectantly. This kind of look is very familiar to Aaron. He was so excited when he stood in front of his uncle's shop just now, but now he is really a little shy in retrospect. After all, this unseen appearance really shouldn't be shown by a pampered young master like him. "When you go to buy a wand, tell me my name, and the boss should be able to give you a cheaper price." "Really?" Hermione was a little surprised. "Of course it's true," Aaron said firmly, although he didn't know if his uncle would sell it at the cost price, but for his sake, he could get a discount or something. It's not just Ollivander. With Aaron's 3-year operation in Diagon Alley, he is also treated like this in other stores. It's a pity. If Hermione had known him earlier, she might have saved a small fortune on necessities. "Then I'll trust you once, but don't lie to me." "Absolutely not." Aaron vowed, although he still wanted to chat with Hermione for a while. The two of them didn't say a few words before a man and a woman walked in outside the door. "Mom and Dad." Hermione greeted her parents simply. "Hermione, who is this?" Hermione's father asked. "My name is Aaron, and I'm her future classmate." Aaron said politely. Hermione nodded, and returned the white cat to Aaron with some reluctance. "Nice to meet you, Aaron. Now I have to buy a wand. See you in 3 days." "Okay, see you in 3 days." 2 groups of people walked out of Mrs. Malkin's robe store one after another, and then walked in different directions. 10 minutes later, Aaron and Gaius received the books they ordered, and then they visited the Crucible store and pharmacy, where they bought the remaining instruments and equipment. On the way back, the two of them passed by the shop where they bought magic brooms. Aaron glanced at it with interest, and a Nimbus Dash was quietly waiting for his master at the counter. "Master want?" Jeans asked. Aaron nodded, then shook his head again. "I'm just a little interested, but not yet buying it. Furthermore, first-year freshmen are not allowed to bring their own broomsticks, and it is useless for me to buy them." "I don't think so. Hogwarts also has flying lessons. It's not impossible for you to experience the magic broom in the 3 days before school starts." "Forget it. The magic broom is not very suitable for me." Aaron said. There is still a magic carpet in his system store that he hasn't bought yet. Doesn't it smell better than a broom? Chapter 12. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the first day of September, Aaron packed his things and rushed to Kingdom Cross Station accompanied by Jeans. Early in the morning, he was pushing a cart with 2 large suitcases, one containing luggage and textbooks, and the other containing other things. He hid 2 magic wands on his body, the black one he planned to use normally, and the white one he didn't intend to show others easily, either as a hole card, or to deal with emergencies. Jeans cast a small levitation charm on the 2 large boxes to make them less heavy than they looked. On the suitcase is a very cute white kitten in clothes. Abbe quietly lying on the suitcase brought a lot of attention to their combination. Aaron looked at Jeans, and smiled nervously and excitedly. "Uncle Jeans, after I enter the station, you won't be able to control me anymore. Are you reluctant?" "It's not enough to say I'm reluctant. After all, I was mentally prepared for this a long time ago. On the other hand, those who followed you secretly will probably be happy for a while." Aaron's face froze, and he was a little sullen. He was 11 years old and hadn't figured out the garrison force that followed him secretly, so he couldn't help but feel a little angry. "Then what? It's this time. Can you tell me who they are?" Aaron asked with some expectation. Jeans hesitated for a moment. "There are 6 in total, 2 of them are secretly protecting you each time, and shifts change every 3 days. In terms of combat effectiveness, they are all at the elite aura level. Fortunately, young master, you spend most of your time in Diagon Alley and the castle. If you run around, they may have to use apparatus to change shifts in time." Hee hee. Aaron sneered. He remembered these people, and in the future, I won't be able to run away even if I become so powerful. 10 years is not too late for a gentleman to take revenge. He thinks he is not a sinister villain, but he is definitely not a gentleman, and he can't wait for 10 years. Noticing the change in Aaron's expression, Jeans couldn't help raising his eyebrows, silently mourning for these dedicated bodyguards. For a second in his heart, as a housekeeper, he doesn't have to worry about being liquidated in the future, but the remaining few probably will be beaten up in the future. Entering the station, Aaron and Jeans waved goodbye. He was pushing the cart slowly. By himself, feeling the breath of freedom in the aisle. Although his sense of security had dropped by hundreds of millions, his mood was extraordinarily relaxed. He crossed the first platform, the second platform, and did not stop until the 9th platform. At this time, he found that there was a boy pushing a cart like him not far ahead, and a white owl was quietly staying in the cage on the cart. He was discussing something with the guard at the station, but the result seemed to be unsatisfactory. The guard strode away, but the boy was a little anxious and stood there blankly. Aaron guessed that this poor baby was also a freshman at Hogwarts, but obviously he didn't know how to get to the platform. The little wizard asked a muggle who didn't know the existence of magic where the platform leading to the magic school was, and there was no one. Seeing that he might be a classmate in the future, Aaron decided to help him, and simply pushed the cart and walked over. "Hello there," that a simple greeting seemed to scare the boy. He turned his head in a panic and looked at Aaron, with a flash of astonishment in his eyes. It's not because of Aaron's appearance, but because Aaron is pushing something similar to him, but because of this, he looks more nervous. "I can see that you seem to need such a little help." "Ah. Yes, do you know how to get to platform 9 3/4? The boy asked with some embarrassment. "You are asking the right person. I happen to know where that platform is, but, as a young wizard who is about to enter school, it is quite strange that you don't know where the platform is. Don't have family with you." The boy hesitated for a moment, then stopped talking. Aaron also saw that he had something to hide, so he didn't ask much. "Come with me. I can see that you and your family are not getting along very well." "Thank you," the boy whispered, and silently followed Aaron. The two walked forward for a short distance and came to the middle of the 9th and 10th platforms. Aaron pointed to a stone wall at the junction of platforms 9 and 10. "That's it, platform 9 3/4, just hit it." The boy nodded, then pointed at the stone wall in front of him in astonishment. "Are you saying we have to bump into it?" "Yes, you come first," Aaron said lightly. The boy became a little hesitant, and looked at Aaron with a trace of suspicion. "This guy didn't mean to trick me on purpose. Or you should go first. I have no experience. It's because you are inexperienced that I let you come first. If I go in, I won't come out to help you," Aaron said, then looked at the boy who was a little shy and still unwilling to act, and frowned. "You won't? Do you not believe me?" The boy pondered for a moment. "It's a little bit. After all, this is a wall, and this is the first time we've met." Aaron felt offended. He kindly brought his future classmate to platform 9 3/4, but he didn't expect that the other party would doubt him. "May I ask, are you a half-blood wizard or a pure-blood wizard? Or are your parents muggles?" "Both my parents are wizards," the boy said hesitantly. "Huh?" Aaron looked at the cautious boy in front of him carefully, and said puzzledly, "It shouldn't be. According to this, you can be regarded as a young man in the magical world, but your understanding of the magical world seems to be it's pitifully small. My parents died when I was 1 year old, and he has been living at my uncle's house." "Oh. That makes sense." Aaron looked stunned. "They must not be good people." "Indeed. Wait, how do you know?" "You are wearing clothes that are more than one size too big, and the frames are all glued together with tape. I really don't understand what kind of family would treat their relatives like this." Aaron pointed to the boy's coat and glasses. All twitching. "This is the first day of school, it's a bit inelegant to dress like this." Fortunately, they wore school uniforms at Hogwarts, and they didn't need these casual clothes. However, the boy's condition was not so bad, and it was hard to say whether he had prepared school uniforms or not. "In this case, it is understandable for you to doubt me. After all, your thinking is still in the world of muggles, so I will forgive you." Aaron said, then pointed to the wall in front of him. This platform is very difficult for muggles. It is a wall to a wizard, but it is a door to a wizard, and it is a door to the magical world for you. I only demonstrate once, but after that I can't control it, you can do it yourself. Hearing this, the boy became a little anxious. To be precise, he regretted it, because he didn't think Aaron was lying to him. Besides, so what if you lied to him? Is it harder to hit a wall than to get out of the sad school arranged by that family and uncle and aunt? At most, it's just being laughed at. Wait, why don't I come first? The boy said hastily. Aaron stopped his progress and looked back at the boy playfully. Are you sure? Not sure, but I don't know any other way, so I might as well be a dead horse doctor. Pretty. Aaron snapped his fingers. You're a little smarter than I thought, so, please. The boy took a deep breath, pushed the cart forward and rushed forward. When he was close to the wall, he closed his eyes and prepared to be knocked out. Nothing happened, though, and he did go through the wall to the real platform 9 3/4. Aaron looked at the boy who disappeared, shrugged, and calmly pushed the cart into the wall. After all, this door only needs a run-up for those who find it fun for the first time or who are not mentally prepared enough, and he doesn't need it at all. Chapter 13 Encounter by Chance. This should be a coincidence. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A red and black train was parked beside the platform, its locomotive belching out hot white steam. The Hogwarts Express sign hung at the front, and platform 9 3/4 was marked on the aisle on one side. This platform was quite crowded. After all, today was the first day of school. Many wizard parents came to send their children to school, and almost every one of them brought a stroller. Cats and owls, the two pets allowed by the school, can be seen everywhere, and only a few people hold a toad in their arms. After passing through the wall, Aaron found that the boy was staring wide-eyed, looking at everything around him curiously, and his eyes stayed on the train for the longest time. He couldn't help feeling more sympathetic. It's not that this baby doesn't know much about the wizarding world. Judging by his behavior, he probably knows less about the Muggle world than normal people. From his joyful gesture, it can be seen that he doesn't know much about magic at all. Haven't been on the train a few times. Ahem. It can be seen that you are very excited, but I would like to remind you that the train will leave in about 10 minutes. What you should do now is to find a carriage and put your luggage and owl away. The boy reacted and said gratefully, Thank you. Can you tell me your name? Just call me Aaron. Thank you. No need, it's all a matter of little effort. Oh. The boy nodded, wanted to say something but hesitated. The two walked through the bustling crowd and found an empty box on the train. Aaron is okay to say, after all, his luggage is not so heavy and he can easily stuff things in it, but the boy is different. He has a lot of things, which are extra heavy. Even after dragging for a long time, I couldn't lift it up at all. Oh. Aaron sighed. You should be honored. This is the first time I've moved things for someone else. Sorry. The boy said with some embarrassment. Aaron just wanted to show off his strength in front of this future classmate, but when he moved the box, he also felt particularly strenuous. Ahem. It's quite heavy. How about I go find someone to help? No, it's just a suitcase. There is no need to ask for help at all. Aaron said, and then looked at the distance of more than 10 meters from the carriage, and couldn't help but sigh in his heart that this would be the longest road he had traveled today. Do you need help? A voice sounded from behind the two of them. Although it was a bit frivolous, it sounded like heaven to Aaron. Do not. As soon as the boy said, no, Aaron couldn't wait to say, that would be great. Didn't you just say that? Ask someone for help and others take the initiative to help are completely different things. Aaron said bluntly, with a calmness in his voice that does not belong to this age group, trust me, you will understand this in the future. The boy seemed to understand something, looked at the red-haired boy, and said shyly and hesitantly, I think I really need help. Immediately he turned and called, Hey, Fred, come and help. After a while, a red-haired boy who looked exactly like the red-haired boy came over. The two of them should be twins. Not only do they look the same, but they even wear the same luggage. With the help of two more people, the box was finally carried into the box. Thank you, Otherwise it's just the two of us who don't know when we're going to move," said the boy. Aaron directly took out 2 lollipops from Abe's pocket and handed them over, causing the young dragon to show aggrieved eyes. "Although this box has nothing to do with me, the necessary thanks are still needed. Please don't be disgusted with it, and be sure to accept it." This. One of the red-haired boys hesitated. Although the lollipop was unopened, it was snatched from a pet's pocket after all. Although the 2 brothers are usually mischievous, they have never snatched food from pets. "That's no need, it's just a matter of raising your hands," another red-haired boy said. Hearing what they said, Abe's big eyes narrowed, and he proudly took his own candy from Aaron. The first red-haired boy's eyes lit up, and he looked at Abe with eager eyes. "Your cat is so cute, can you give us a hug? Just one?" I'm afraid this won't work, Abe has always disliked strangers." "It's a pity," the red-haired boy said regretfully. Then a voice came from outside the carriage. "Fred, George, are you in the car?" "Here we come, Mom." The brothers shouted immediately and jumped out of the carriage. From the perspective of the 2 of Aaron, they can see that they walked up to a fat woman, and in front of them were a red-haired boy and a red-haired girl. It seemed that they should be a family. Aaron sincerely admires this mother. After all, it is not easy to bring up 4 children. However, after a while, another taller red-haired boy walked over and joined them without knowing what they were talking about. "Good guy, really good guy." "What did you say?" "Nothing, just thought that fat woman must be a great mother, the whole 5 children, it can also handle the family relationship so harmoniously." The boy turned his head away, and saw the twin brothers greeting him, so startled that he retracted his head immediately. Soon, the Hogwarts Express started to start, slowly increasing its speed amidst the sound of da-da-da. The boy was very excited. Buildings flashed before his eyes. The ordinary things such as the forest outside, the field, and even the blue sky and white clouds were incomparably novel and beautiful in his eyes. This was the happiest time in his life, because he was far away from his uncle's family, away from his cousin's oppression, and he would not be mediocre in Muggle High School. At this moment, the boy noticed something strange. Aaron, who was sitting across from him, seemed to be more excited than him, and there was a trace of light in his eyes looking out of the window. This can't fix him. Could it be that Aaron is also a child who is fostered in other people's homes like him and is oppressed? It doesn't look like it. After a few seconds, the boy tentatively asked, "Aaron. What's wrong?" "It's okay, it's just that you don't think you're too excited." "Is there? Am I so obvious?" Aaron held Abe, who was holding a lollipop in his arms, with some embarrassment, and eased the exaggerated expression on his face with the help of the dragon. The boy nodded hastily. "It's very obvious. After all, I'm going to a magic school, so it's normal to be a little excited," Aaron said, then looked at the boy. "By the way, I don't know your name yet." "My name is..." Before the boy finished speaking, the door of the box was opened, and a red-haired boy looked at the 2 of them cautiously and said, "Excuse me, can I sit here? The other places are full." The boy recognized at a glance that this boy was the younger brother of the pair of twin brothers who helped him carry the box just now, and then patted the seat next to him. "Just sit down." "Thank you." The red-haired boy sat down and directly reported his name. "My name is Ron Weasley." "My name is Harry Potter." After the boy finished speaking, he pointed to Aaron on the opposite side and introduced, "His name is Aaron." Puff. Aaron felt like beeping the dog for a moment, and almost threw Abe out of the car window in his hand. What is this scenario? The outrageous things that he hadn't encountered in the past 11 years have all been encountered in the first few days of school. Haven't been to school yet. I met the protagonist group in advance. What kind of bad luck is this? Ron's eyes widened immediately. He looked at Harry with more admiration, and pointed to his forehead nervously. "So, is that true? I mean, you really have that. Then what?" Harry asked, puzzled. "Scar." "Oh." Harry lifted the hair on his forehead, revealing a lightning-shaped scar, a little proud. "Absolutely." Ron sighed. "Oh." Aaron sighed deeply. "What do you mean by sighing?" Ron asked. He is a celebrity in the wizarding world, the boy who lived, Harry Potter. There are even some books that record his legendary deeds. Aaron gave him a blank look. So what? I don't follow stars, and this scar is not a good thing for him, but I really didn't expect that I would sit in the same carriage as the famous Harry Potter. That's right. I think so too. Fate is such a wonderful thing. Aaron, good one I think. Chapter 14 The Clear Wealth Gap Between Wizarding Families. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Harry and Ron seemed to hit it off right away, chatting casually in the carriage. Aaron hugged Abe, leisurely looking at the scenery outside, feeling the rare breath of freedom. At this moment, there was a sudden click sound from outside the box, and a fat saleswoman pushed a cart full of various snacks, looked at the three of them, and asked, "Do you want to buy something, kids?" "No, thank you, I brought it." Ron took out a sandwich wrapped in a transparent oilcloth with some embarrassment. "I'm not hungry," Aaron said, and then he suddenly thought of something, and glanced at the pet in his arms. "But let's have some." The fat woman smiled happily. "Okay, sir, what do you need?" "We have multi-flavored beans, chocolate frogs, pies, cakes." "You don't need to say that much." Aaron was a little impatient, and took out a galleon. "Just the 4 things you said. 3 people are enough." "Oh, wait a minute." The fat woman started rummaging in her cart, then put a pile of snacks on the table in the box, and found Aaron a few sickles along the way. "Wow!" Ron's eyes widened. "Aaron, what does your family do? You look so rich." "Actually, it's nothing, just a small business." "It's casual, what you gave just now was Garen." Ron asked in astonishment. "I probably don't have that much pocket money for a year." The corner of Aaron's mouth twitched, and he always felt that this guy looked like he had never seen money. I think it may be because you have 4 brothers and sisters in your family, so the cost is relatively high." Ron nodded silently when he heard the words. "Actually, you don't fully understand. I have 5 older brothers and 1 younger sister." "Aaron, no wonder this kid's pocket money is less than 1 galleon. An already poor family has to raise 7 children, which is making things worse. If you don't plan carefully, you may not be able to survive." "I just thought your mother was great, able to take care of 7 children, but I didn't expect your father to be even greater, able to support your family with 1 person's salary." "What do you mean?" "It's nothing, I'm just simply expressing my admiration for your father." "Yes, that's right, admiration," Aaron said, and then pointed to the snacks on the table. "Don't be dumbfounded, both of you. If you want to eat, you are welcome, but remember to leave a few pies for my family." "Abe, it would be better if there are meat fillings." Ron couldn't help but look at the white cat. "Your pet is so cute." "I only have 1 mouse, and Percy threw it away." As he spoke, he took out a fat gray mouse from his pocket. "It's called Scabbers, and it's hopeless. It only eats and sleeps all day long." Aaron immediately moved his body back, trying to distance himself from the mouse as much as possible. On the contrary, Abe in his arms seemed to smell some disgusting smell, showing a vigilant and disgusted expression, pointing at the sleeping mouse with a white paw, grinning continuously. Ron immediately took his pet back. He almost forgot that Aaron's pet was a cat, and there was no difference between taking out the mouse in front of the cat and feeding it. "Don't worry, my Abe doesn't eat mice." Aaron comforted Abe with a wry smile, and looked at the mouse with some scrutiny. After all, Abe is a holy dragon, not a cat, and it shouldn't be an ordinary mouse that can make it react like this, or, not a mouse at all. But this has nothing to do with him. Even if Ron also raises a magical creature that he has never seen before like him, it's nothing. Only then did Ron put Ban on the table in peace of mind, and then enjoyed the food with peace of mind. As for the sandwich he brought, he threw it aside a long time ago, so what is it compared to these snacks? Harry picked up a packing box, glanced at it, and put the beans in it into his mouth. Then he felt an indescribable taste, and the expression on his face became weird. "That's BB's beans, they come in all sorts of flavors," said Ron. "Chocolate mint, spinach, tripe, liver. George says he's had snotty ones too." Ouch! Aaron suddenly felt a little nauseous, and immediately put this snack into the blacklist. Harry silently spit out the multi-flavored beans in his mouth and threw them into the trash can. He felt that most of what he ate was snot-smelling. After a while, Harry picked up another 5-pointed star box with chocolate frogs written on it, and asked curiously, "Is there really a frog in here?" "That's understandable." Aaron laughed. "This is magic. I usually buy this kind of snacks for the pictures inside. Every pack has pictures of great magicians. I have already collected more than 500 pictures." Ron said. Harry unpacked it, and a frog croaked in the carriage. The eyes of the pure chocolate-colored frog moved slightly, and then jumped towards the glass window, but when it jumped into the air, Abe jumped up and grabbed it in his hand, proudly putting the piece of chocolate into his mouth. Cough cough. Aaron coughed lightly, and Abe stopped in embarrassment. "Eat, but be careful, I don't want your mouth to be full of chocolate." Aaron laughed. Abe was stunned for a moment, raised his paws and shattered the chocolate frog, and then put small pieces into his mouth. This scene stunned Harry and Ron. They have seen cats, but they have never seen such a smart, human cat. "Aaron, how much did you pay for this cat? Isn't it very expensive?" Ron asked in a daze. He silently compared Abe and Scabbers, and suddenly felt that the mouse was not good, even though it was originally not fragrant. "This is left by the elders in my family, it should be," Aaron said with a strange expression. He didn't know how to say it, but this was the meaning expressed in the dragon's license. "I don't know how much it's worth, but I know I wouldn't sell it for any amount." "So that's the case," Ron said angrily. "By the way, what's your last name?" "Gaius, I am from the Gaius family." Ron was stunned for a moment. He really hadn't heard of this surname much. Harry picked up the picture in the box. On it was an old man with a white beard and glasses. He looked very kind, but his nose was a little crooked. What was miraculous was that the picture on the picture was still moving, which was impossible in the Muggle world. Less than, and the name on the card is, Albus Dumbledore. "It's Dumbledore, I already have 6. Ron laughed. Harry smiled, and when he looked down at the picture again, the image on it had disappeared, which was a bit of a novelty for a child who had just come into contact with the wizarding world. "He's gone. He's not going to be there all day, is he?" said Ron. "He'll be back. There is no need to be so serious. Our headmaster is Dumbledore. Looking at real people is definitely more realistic than looking at pictures." Even though he said so, Harry still put the picture away. By some mysterious accident, the train passed through the woods and fields, and came to a plain. Outside the car window was a lake, and the sparkling light made people feel calm. Perhaps Aaron would have been in a better mood if a mouse hadn't been nibbling at the food on the table. "Ron, could you ask your mouse to be quiet if it's okay?" Sorry to bother you." Ron lifted the mouse from the table awkwardly. "By the way, the spell Fred taught me can turn it yellow. I'll show you too." "Okay. Apart from Hagrid, I haven't seen any other wizards cast spells." Harry showed great interest. Aaron nodded too. After all, magic shows can also add a little fun to this not-so-long journey. Chapter 15. I was brainwashed before school started. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ron pulled out his wand with some embarrassment. It looked a little old, and it didn't look like it was used by a new student at all. It might be a second-hand product, or even a third-hand product, but given the poverty of the Weasleys, it's not surprising. The wand he used may have been passed down from the family. As for how many generations it has been passed down, it depends on the situation. Ron cleared his throat and raised his wand lightly. Yang. As soon as he uttered the first word of the spell, a girl in a black robe appeared at the door of their box, looking slightly panting. "Hermione." "Huh?" The girl was stunned for a moment, as if she didn't expect that anyone here knew her, and then she turned her gaze to the place where the voice came from. "Aaron? Are you here too?" Hermione said with some joy. "Otherwise?" Aaron rolled his eyes. "I'm also a freshman at Hogwarts, so it's normal on this train." "That's right." Hermione said with some embarrassment. "By the way, have you seen a toad? Someone named Neville lost one." Woo. Abe groaned softly, then patted his stomach triumphantly. Hermione's complexion changed slightly. Don't tell me you were eaten by it. Snapped. Aaron patted Abe directly on the head. Don't get me wrong, he just ate a chocolate frog. As for the toad you mentioned, we haven't seen it yet. Okay, said Hermione, and laid her eyes on Ron's wand. You're doing magic. May I see? Ron cleared his throat again, trying to make his spelling sound as clear as possible. Sunshine, daisies, and buttery scents quickly turned this stupid fat mouse yellow. The wand swung down, and then nothing happened. Not a hair changed color. Ron looked at the three people in the box with some embarrassment. His face was slightly red. The corner of Aaron's mouth twitched. Ron, your brother must be very fond of pranks, right? I think I have read a lot of books and know a lot of spells, but this is the first time I have heard such a spell. Are you sure it's a spell? Ron didn't know what to say, and he also realized that he was probably deceived by Fred. Indeed, your spell doesn't seem to be very effective. Hermione said, of course, I have also tried a few simple spells, and they all work. As Hermione said, she drew out her wand, sat next to Aaron, and pointed the wand in her hand at Harry's worn-out glasses, for example. Before she finished speaking, Aaron suppressed the black wand in her hand. Aaron, what are you doing? Hermione said a little displeased, and her interest in casting spells was much less. I just think it's best not to target people when testing spells, or at least get their consent. It may be impolite and dangerous for you to start directly like this. It's okay if you succeed, but in case you fail. It was only then that Hermione noticed that the boy opposite her was staring at her nervously, with a hint of panic in addition to vigilance in his eyes. Excuse me, can you give me your glasses? Oh, no problem. Harry breathed a sigh of relief, then took off his glasses and handed them to Hermione. Hermione waved her wand lightly and said the spell, Ocala's Repello. The patches on the nose pads of the glasses popped out, and the nose pads were all new. It'll be fixed soon, said Hermione. Harry picked up his glasses with wide eyes, and exchanged a glance with the surprised Ron, as if he didn't expect this proud girl's magic to be so effective. Hermione also noticed the lightning scar on Harry's forehead, and said in surprise, It's amazing, you are Harry Potter. Wait. Hermione, how do you know about him? Aaron asked in surprise. It's normal for a wizard to know Harry Potter. After all, the boy who lived a catastrophe is a household name in the wizarding world, but Hermione is a child of a pure Muggle family, and she also knows the name of Harry Potter, which is a bit abnormal. Muggles probably know only a little less about the wizarding world than Harry Potter himself. Read a book. His name is included in several books that record the history of modern magic. Hermione said naturally. So that's how it is. If you are so studious, you will most likely be assigned to Ravenclaw. Ravenclaw? Hermione raised her eyebrows slightly, but I want to go to Gryffindor. Dumbledore graduated from that academy, so one can imagine how excellent it is. What about you, Aaron? Which college do you want to go to? Me? It doesn't matter, as long as it's not a Hufflepuff, but there is a great possibility that he will be assigned to Slytherin. No, you can't go to that academy. Harry said hastily, then blushed, lowered his head and explained, I heard from Hagrid that basically all the people who come out of that academy are dark wizards. Huh? Aaron frowned, then smiled disdainfully. If I'm not mistaken, this Hagrid must have graduated from Gryffindor. Only Gryffindors hate Slytherins so much. But my parents also said that Slytherins weren't nice people, said Ron. Huh? Your parents didn't graduate from Gryffindor, did they? Ron did not speak, expressing his acquiescence. My God! You two are really brainwashed before you even started school. Why does Hogwarts keep the house if Slytherin is really that bad? If Slytherin is directly dismantled, wouldn't the law and order environment in the wizarding world be greatly improved? And as far as I know, Slytherin is the best achieving house among the 4 houses. Slytherins are the worst, anyway, Ron muttered. You know who came from that house. Alas. Aaron sighed, forget it, let's wait and see. I don't think there is any distinction between good and bad colleges, only talents. You can't say that there is no good person in the huge Slytherin. In a word, Harry and Ron were speechless. Although they hated this college, they really couldn't deny the whole college just because they didn't like it. That's not wrong. Hermione smiled and stood up. I still have to help Neville find his toad, so I'll be leaving first. By the way, just to remind you, it's time to change into the uniforms, we should be almost there. Hermione paused when she walked out of the box. She turned her head and looked at Ron, then pointed to her nose. You have a dirty thing on your nose, you know. It's right here. Ron glared at her lightly, and then began to wipe it with his hands. After discovering the blackness on his hands, he looked at the two sullenly. Don't you remind me. Sorry, you're on my left, and I don't have good eyesight, so I didn't see you, Harry said. Dirty things? Aaron couldn't help laughing. I thought it was a birthmark. Ron. As the night fell, the express train got closer and closer to the terminal, and finally stopped with the sound of long whistles. Students of all grades wearing black robes got off the bus one after another, and the originally empty platform suddenly became crowded. But it's not too crowded, after all. The students' suitcases are all in the car, and they will be packed and sent to Hogwarts by someone. Here we are. First-year students, please go this way. Come on, first-year students, don't be shy, hurry up and catch up. A rough-looking giant with a big beard said loudly, holding a lamp. He is Hagrid. Harry introduced to Ron and Aaron excitedly. The giants? Aaron raised his eyebrows. Nowadays, the number of giants is relatively rare. I only saw them a few times in Diagon Alley. I didn't expect there to be Hogwarts. He's a gamekeeper, said Harry, and waved Hagrid. Chapter 16. Some family symbols are mysterious. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hi. Harry. Hagrid gave Harry a big smile, and inadvertently glanced at Abe in Aaron's arms, and his eyes lit up immediately. Having raised magical animals for so many years, Hagrid still has good eyesight. He can be, % sure that this overly cute cat, wearing clothes, is definitely not simple. This freshman, your cat is very cute, can you give me a hug? Aaron didn't say anything yet, but Abe kept shaking his head. Who are you? Ben Long doesn't know you at all, why should he let you hug him? Sorry, Abe is my family, as you can see, I have to respect his opinion. Aaron said. He didn't intend to let Hagrid see it at first, not to mention that Hagrid's unshaven appearance is enough to scare children to tears, but the weird smell on his clothes is enough to make people stay away. Besides, this giant is a gamekeeper. He may not be outstanding in other aspects, but he is extremely sensitive to animals. He is only a new student now, so there is no need to expose that he has raised a dragon. That's a pity. Hagrid shrugged, but he didn't care. After all, this freshman will study at Hogwarts for 7 years, and there will be plenty of opportunities in the future. First-grade students come here to board the boat. Hurry up, follow me. Hagrid continued his work, and the first-year freshmen followed him one after another, walking through a long and slippery path in the dark to reach the edge of the Black Lake. Opposite the Black Lake is a huge castle built on the hillside. There are many spears on the castle, and the light yellow lights shine from all the windows, adding a bit of mystery under the moonlight. The freshmen crossed in small boats, and each boat could only carry 4 people. Hagrid was relatively big, and he could hold 4 of them, so he monopolized one boat. Aaron, Harry, Ron, and Hermione were sitting in a small boat. They looked at everything around them curiously and excitedly, and made admiration sounds from time to time. The ship landed quickly, and after confirming that no one was lost, Hagrid pointed to the stairs in front. You guys go straight along the stairs, and Professor McGonagall will be in charge of the rest. The new students did so, and after walking a few flights of stairs, a witch in a green robe and black pointed hat was waiting for them on the landing. Her complexion couldn't be described as pretty, it might be because she waited for a long time. Welcome Hogwarts. Well, in a moment you'll be walking through these doors to join your fellow students. However, before taking a seat, you must classify and determine which college to enter. There's Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. During the school period, the college is like your home, good performance can add points to the college, and points will be deducted for any college who violates the school rules. At the end of the year, whichever house scores the most wins the house cup, a great honor. At this time, the cry of frogs came from in front of Professor McGonagall, and a fat boy among the new students opened his eyes wide when he heard the familiar voice. Neville often lost this toad. He lost it once before boarding the train. With Hermione's help, he found it with great difficulty. After arriving at Hogwarts, he lost it again and couldn't find it after searching for a long time. Now that it appeared in front of my eyes, it would be a lie to say that I was not excited, but as soon as Neville was about to pass, the toad jumped onto his hand by itself. Trevor. Neville hugged his toad happily, although he didn't understand what happened, but this did not hinder the joy of finding it again. On the contrary, Professor McGonagall noticed the black wand in Aaron's sleeve very keenly, and the corners of his mouth raised slightly, thinking that the school had recruited a talented magician this time. The sorting ceremony will begin in a while. You'd better arrange your clothes and faces first, because this will be held in front of the teachers and students of the whole school. Professor McGonagall left the group of freshmen behind after finishing speaking. In place, at this time, a blonde-haired boy looked at Harry and said curiously, "It seems that what they said just now is true. Harry Potter is coming to Hogwarts." The freshmen looked at each other in blank dismay, especially sensitive to the name Harry Potter. The blonde boy looked at the two fat men behind him who looked like door gods, and introduced to Harry Potter, "This is Crabbe, and this is Goyle. I'm Malfoy." The blonde boy walked up to Harry, fearing that he might not remember his name, and solemnly said, "Draco Malfoy." Puff. Ron couldn't help laughing. Malfoy glared sullenly, "Do you think my name is funny? I don't need to ask what your name is. Red hair, old heirloom robes, you must be from the Weasleys." Ron pursed his lips and glared at Draco sullenly, but he did not refute the truth after all. Malfoy looked at Harry, "You'll find that certain families of wizards are superior. Potter, don't make friends with dubious people, I can help you." Saying that, Draco held out his right hand to Harry. "I think I can tell the good from the bad, thank you," Harry said calmly. Draco's face became a little ugly. Harry Potter actually rejected his friendship in front of so many people. It is really tolerable. What is unbearable? As soon as he was about to say something, Aaron coughed lightly. "Some magician families are indeed superior to others, but if you speak with a better attitude, maybe you will achieve different results." Only then did Malfoy turn his head to look at Aaron in the freshman team, and said proudly, "Who are you? It's not your turn to teach me how to do things." "Aaron." Harry became a little anxious. No matter how Malfoy looked at it, he was either the rich second generation or the official second generation, or both, or even several generations. What if Aaron was retaliated against for standing up for him? Aaron ignored him. Instead, he stretched out his right hand and said with a smile, "Gaius, Aaron Gaius, nice to meet you. Are you from the Gaius family?" Malfoy narrowed his eyes, and the arrogance on his body dropped instantly. "It's not important, what matters is my attitude and your response." Aaron smiled and gestured to his upright right hand. Draco shook hands with Aaron in a daze. "Nice to meet you." "That's right. Attitude is the key to making friends. You put yourself in an unattainable position from the very beginning. Those who know think you are making friends, but those who don't know think you are taking slaves. In this case, few people will give you a good face." Thank you, Malfoy said far-fetched, as if it was difficult for him to say these two words. Ron stared at this scene with wide eyes, and silently pulled Harry and the two apart a little. Although he had a little affection for Aaron, the moment he came into contact with Malfoy, this affection began to decline. Crabbe and Goyle looked at each other, and they could see the astonishment in each other's eyes. They were Draco's followers, so they naturally knew how difficult it was to get him to say, "Thank you." At this time, Professor McGonagall came over and looked at the two people who were shaking hands in a friendly way. He was also a little stunned, but he quickly came back to his senses. "It's ready over there, come with me." "Malfoy, is this Gaius family famous?" "I don't remember this family among the 28 pure-blood families," Goyle asked doubtfully as he walked. "You don't know, I also heard from my father." Draco said, "Pure blood families represent noble blood, except for some families that shame pure blood, such as Weasley, and there are 4 wizard families that represent mystery, and the time of their existence cannot be considered, and it is difficult to find even a single sentence in the vast books. It is rumored that they are always guarding something, and they may not be well known in the wizarding world, but their inheritance, connections, and influence are no worse than pure blood. In my father's words, you can never imagine what kind of hole cards these deeply hidden families have. The mysterious man and the previous Dark Lord once wanted to gain the support of these families, but were either rejected or found no one among them. The Gaius family is one of these mysterious families. In short, try to make friends with each other if you can, and don't offend them if you can't." Chapter 17. Is this the only hat? You are listening at novelfull.audio. The freshmen followed Professor McGonagall into a luxurious auditorium in a row. There are small fires on the walls of the auditorium, and countless candles hanging from the ceiling, making the lights here bright. All the senior students sat around 4 long tables representing their respective colleges. At the front of each table was a blank seat, which should be reserved for the freshmen who were about to join the college. "It's beautiful." Aaron looked up at the ceiling, which was a night sky, similar to what he saw next to the Black Lake. "It's enchanted, I read about it in the Hogwarts history," said Hermione. Aaron froze for a moment, then gave a thumbs up. "You are more knowledgeable than I thought. I think no one among the freshmen will notice these details except you." "Hermione, let me ask you a question. Do you still want to know the author's life when you read a book?" "How do you know?" Hermione looked very surprised. Aaron rolled his eyes. "I guess, but are you sure you don't want to go to Ravenclaw? I think there is the most suitable place for you. You will make a large group of like-minded friends, and you will definitely be one of them top student." "This." Hermione hesitated. "Let's talk about it." "It's not up to the students to decide on sorting." "That's true." Aaron shrugged and said nothing, but it could be seen that the girls still wanted to go to Gryffindor. The crowd was brought to a high platform by Professor McGonagall. In the center of the platform was Albus Dumbledore. It was hard not to recognize him with the long white beard. On the left and right sides of him were teachers of various subjects and Hagrid. Such workers. In the center of the steps is a stool, and on top of the stool is a worn and old pointed hat with many patches on it, a thick layer of dust covering up its original color. "Is this the sorting hat?" "It's different from what I imagined," Aaron said with some confusion, and he felt particularly irritated when he thought of wearing this broken hat in the future. "The most important thing is which college they are assigned to seems to be determined by such a hat. Is this reliable?" Although it can be seen from its dilapidated state that it is an old magic item, it always feels a bit absurd to rely on it to determine the fate of new students for the next 7 years. The hat on the stool seemed to hear Aaron's muttering, crumpled into a human face, and gave him a provocative smile. "It's not the first time it has encountered a new student like Aaron, but it must be worn if it should be worn, and it cannot be avoided." "Hey! My temper!" Aaron responded with a glare. "There are more creases on the smiley face of the sorting hat. I like this kind of look that you don't like me, but you can't help me." "Please wait here for a while," Professor McGonagall said. "Professor Dumbledore wants to say a few words to everyone before the ceremony begins." The white-haired old man sitting on the main seat stood up and said, "I have a few things to announce about the start of school. First-year freshmen, pay attention. This school strictly prohibits any students from entering the Dark Forest. In addition, our administrator, Mr. Filch, wants me to remind you that the corridor on the 3rd floor and the corridor on the right are also forbidden areas. If you don't want to die miserably, don't go there." Aaron looked in the direction of Dumbledore's right hand. A tall and thin old man with dark eyes and some balding was staring at them, as if waiting for them to make a mistake. At his feet is a black and white cat, which also looks a bit ferocious. After Dumbledore finished speaking, Professor McGonagall picked up a long piece of parchment. "Next, the students whose names I read will come to the front. I will put the sorting hat on your heads, and then I will confirm the college you are going to." "Wait." Aaron took a step forward. "Professor McGonagall, I want to ask if Hogwarts only has this sorting hat. Can you change it? After all, it is really dirty and scary. It is not friendly to people like me who like to be clean." After Aaron finished speaking, there was a burst of laughter in the lobby. Professor McGonagall was stunned for a moment, and then said with some regret, "There is only this sorting hat." "Then can you wash it, so I can barely accept it?" Aaron said. Now the sorting hat couldn't stand it anymore. It said directly, "I can't accept this, so don't even think about it." "I'm asking the professor, is it impolite for you to interrupt suddenly? Props are always props, don't place yourself too high, it will make you lose self-awareness." Aaron said coldly, and then turned his attention to Professor McGonagall. "Professor, is it okay?" This. Professor McGonagall couldn't help but look at Dumbledore in the main seat, but found that he didn't say anything, and didn't know how to answer for a while. "Okay. Professor, I understand." Aaron didn't let her continue to be embarrassed, and heaved a long sigh. "Please continue the sorting ceremony." "Okay." Professor McGonagall took a deep look at Aaron, and then began to roll his name. Hannah Abbott, that a little girl with a ruddy complexion, sat nervously on the stool, and Professor McGonagall put the sorting hat on her head. "Let me think about it." The sorting hat murmured for a moment, then suddenly said, "I see, Hufflepuff." The senior students on the long table on the right applauded and cheered for the freshmen of their colleges, and Hannah quickly ran to the empty seat at the Hufflepuff long table. "Susan Bones." Professor McGonagall called out the second name. "Hufflepuff." The sorting hat said cheerfully, much faster than the first one. "Terry Boot." "Ravenclaw," that the sorting ceremony continued. The 4 houses of Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, and Slytherin all recruited a lot of new students, and the 4 long tables below also cheered from time to time. Ron did not live up to the expectations of his parents and brothers, and was assigned to Gryffindor as he wished, as did Hermione. It is worth mentioning that when it was Draco Malfoy's turn, the sorting hat just touched his hair and gave the result, as if he was born for that academy. After another 10 minutes, only Harry Potter and Aaron Gaius were left standing in front of the high platform. Harry Potter, that when Professor McGonagall pronounced this legendary name, the entire auditorium fell silent. The students on the 4 rows of long tables below began to discuss in low voices, and the students in the back seats even raised their necks, hoping to see what he looked like. Even Dumbledore, who was sitting in the main seat, sat up slightly and looked expectantly at the boy with the lightning scar on his forehead. "Don't be nervous, just follow your inner thoughts," Aaron said, "although it may not be useful." "Thank you." Harry walked forward slowly, and then sat down on the chair. "Well, it's not easy. This is really too difficult," the sorting hat said, and then began its own analysis. "I can see that you are very courageous, and you are not bad-hearted, talented, and extremely eager to prove yourself, but where are you divided?" The pointed top of the sorting hat was hammered down, shaking left and right constantly, which seemed particularly tangled. "Not going to Slytherin, not going to Slytherin." Harry closed his eyes and whispered constantly, for fear that the hat would put him in the house he least wanted to go to. Aaron watched this scene playfully from below. It was obvious that Harry, who had been brainwashed by Hagrid and Ron, instinctively believed that he belonged to Gryffindor, and was very resistant to Slytherin. But without his own ideas, other people's opinions will occupy a large proportion in his future life, but this is Harry's own choice, and it has nothing to do with him. "Not going to Slytherin, are you sure?" The sorting hat naturally heard Harry's ramblings. "You can stand out there, and the wisdom is in your little head. Slytherins can help you do great things, there's no question about that." Harry still didn't change his mind, and kept repeating the phrase, "not going to Slytherin." "Okay. Now that you've made up your mind, go to Gryffindor." Harry opened his eyes and got a satisfactory answer. A relieved smile spread across his face. Because of his great reputation, Gryffindor gave a particularly strong response this time, and the applause was a bit louder than before. Prefect Percy Weasley stood up and shook hands with him excitedly, and the 2 brothers Fred and George continued to clap their hands and said, "We have Potter." Most of the teachers and staff at the guest table also applauded fiercely, and Dumbledore even raised his glass to Harry from the air. After a short burst of cheers, everyone's eyes fell on Aaron, who hadn't finished sorting at the end. Chapter 18. After all, I entered the Snake Court. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Aaron Gaius. Professor McGonagall read out Aaron's full name. Ha! It's finally your turn, little guy. The Sorting Hat let out a triumphant laugh. Aaron spread his hands. To be honest, I don't really want to be the last one. After all, the people in front are too good, and the pressure on the people behind will always be great. As he spoke, he hugged Abe, who had climbed to the top of his head without knowing when, and walked up the steps. Professor McGonagall, can I ask you one last question? Okay, just ask. If I cast a cleansing charm on this hat, it won't avenge itself in sorting. Professor McGonagall looked down at the sorting hat in his hand, and hesitated. Probably not. No. The Sorting Hat said proudly, I used to be Godric Gryffindor's wizard hat, and I was blessed by the other 3 giants who founded Hogwarts. With the wisdom of the founder of Hogwarts, it is impossible to do such a shameless thing. Really? Then I'm relieved. Aaron nodded in satisfaction, and then took out a black wand. The Sorting Hat began to tremble, and then it recalled the meaning of the first half of Aaron's sentence. What do you want to do? I warn you, don't mess around. I am the Sorting Hat, and my seniority may be much older than you think. No matter how old you are, it's just a hat. It's not something to show off. Aaron said, then waved his wand. Clean it up. No. The Sorting Hat let out a long cry, and then a puff of white smoke came out, and all the dust on it was bounced off. Although the appearance was still rotten, it was at least 100 times cleaner than before. How dare you? The Sorting Hat showed a fierce expression, but it seemed stern. Why didn't I dare? You said that you wouldn't avenge yourself in public. Yaron explained as he should, and then sat down on the stool calmly. This wave of manipulation by Aaron made all the students speechless in shock. After all, no one dared to do this before him. Some of the professors at the guest chair looked at Aaron in different ways, either admiring, frowning, or dumbfounding, but most of them were interested. Professor McGonagall, you can start. Aaron said lightly. Oh. Professor McGonagall froze for a moment, then carefully placed the Sorting Hat on Aaron's head. Huh. After the Sorting Hat was put on Aaron's head, his expression immediately became extremely astonished. How is it possible? I thought you were just grandstanding, but I didn't expect you to be more difficult than the one just now, not lacking in courage, with unparalleled courage, tough character, clever mind, and a strong thirst for knowledge hidden in his heart. The most important thing is that you have extremely high talent and potential. I have seen countless students in the past 1,000 years. Among them, there are no more than 10 of them who are at the same level as you, but they have only reached that line, and there has never been a single one. People have such powerful magic at the age of school. Are you really only 11 years old? Isn't this nonsense? Aaron said speechlessly, and don't you think you've said too much? Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. After all, the wizarding world is much bigger than Hogwarts, so you haven't made up your mind yet? No, you have to give me some time to think about it. You are so comprehensive, every college is especially suitable for you. What is your purpose of coming to school, or what do you desire most? Is it necessary to ask so clearly? Aaron said uncomfortably. He could clearly feel that the broken hat was spying on his thoughts all the time, but he was destined not to see any secrets in front of his perfect level of acclimacy. Of course there is. The Sorting Hat said, some people desire knowledge, some people desire power, some people desire resources, some people desire. I don't care what you said. What I long for is true friendship. Friendship? That's a rarity, since it's friendship. Slytherin. The Sorting Hat shouted loudly. After the results came out, the Slytherin students applauded loudly, while the Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, and Ravenclaw students all sighed. They also heard the evaluation of the Sorting Hat just now, and the Snake Academy will get a very good student. Sure enough. Aaron murmured, then picked up Abe and walked to the long table in Slytherin, while Professor McGonagall also put away the freshman list and the Sorting Hat and walked to his seat. Draco greeted him friendly with 2 followers, and the prefect also welcomed him warmly. Aaron even saw Professor Snape at the guest table, the Dean of Slytherin nodding slightly at him, which made him a little flattered. Aaron, I knew you would be assigned to Slytherin, and only Slytherin is worthy of a genius like you. Didn't you notice that Weasley's face became particularly ugly just now? Draco said happily. Hey! That's too serious. Aaron waved his hand embarrassingly. I never thought I was a genius. As for Weasley's face, that's none of my business. Ding, ding, ding. Professor McGonagall tapped the cup in front of her with a golden spoon. Please pay attention. Dumbledore stood up from the main seat. He raised his hands and looked at the students below with a smile on his face. Now, the banquet begins. As the voice fell, the 4 long tables were filled with all kinds of food in an instant. In front of Aaron alone, there were beef, lamb chops, pork chops, potatoes, pudding, pea sprouts, carrots, corn, etc. It can be said that fully catered for all picky eaters. Abe jumped directly in front of Aaron, pointing at the chicken legs on the plate with his small paws, and looked at Aaron with longing eyes on the other hand. Got it. Aaron smiled, and put the food it wanted to eat in front of it. At this time, a gray and white ghost came out from under the table and stopped right next to Draco, opposite Aaron. This stunned Draco, dropping his fork onto the plate. Don't worry, he's Baron the Bloody, the ghost of our Slytherin house. An old student said, that is to say, ghosts have no lethality to living people, and there are ghosts floating everywhere in the hall, but the one next to Draco is really scary, haggard, with silver blood spots all over his robe. He is no different from a perverted murderer. Sitting across from him to eat, Aaron expressed that he was very stressed. As for Draco Malfoy, who was sitting next to him, Aaron expressed deep sympathy. After more than half an hour of dining time, the food and tableware on the table disappeared in an instant, and the table became clean again. Satisfied, Aaron sat on the chair, feeling that the pet in his arms had weighed 2 or 3 caddies. Okay, it's time for bedtime. Before that, let's do one last activity and sing the school song. Dumbledore said excitedly, as if this was the most important part of the whole sorting ceremony. Hogwarts still has a school song. Aaron looked at a freshman beside him in surprise, but he also looked blank, apparently knowing nothing. Then he set his sights on a senior, and saw the bitterness and hatred on his face, and Aaron could read the suffering and embarrassment from the senior's face. Dumbledore flicked his wand lightly, and a golden ribbon floated out of it. On the ribbon were lines of text, namely the lyrics, Hogwarts, 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 please teach us knowledge, whether we are bald old men, or the kid who broke his knee. Everyone chooses their favorite tune. Dumbledore said approachably, ready to sing. The next moment, an extremely noisy voice sounded in the lobby. The combination of chaotic tones and some unscrupulous lyrics was like a magic voice. Aaron had the urge to cover his ears, but it was obviously inappropriate in public. In desperation, Aaron hugged Abe to the top of his head. Its 2 front paws covered his ears under the hat openly, while its 2 hind paws pressed Aaron's ears. Secret and natural, you can't really find it if you don't look carefully. Chapter 19 Tasks for Year 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After dinner, the Slytherin prefect led the freshmen to the basement, pointing to a stone door in a wet stone wall. This is the entrance to the lounge. The password changes every 2 weeks. This week's password is, Glory. The stone door opened, and everyone entered the lounge one by one. This is a translucent lounge at the bottom of the lake, with a fireplace, sofas and coffee tables in the center and along the walls, and several bookshelves. The surrounding walls are made of black marble, and the ceiling is a transparent semicircle carved with crystal. When you look up, you can see sparkling waves, and you can also see some huge octopuses or strange creatures through the windows, just like an underwater museum. The boys' dormitory is on the left, and the girls' dormitory is on the right. Your suitcases have already been sent to your respective dormitories. Usually, if you have any questions, you can come to me, or you can go to Dean Snape. We will not refuse if we can help. That's it, get some rest early, you have to go to class tomorrow morning. The beds in the dormitory had been laid long ago, which made everyone feel a lot more relaxed. After all, they were exhausted physically and mentally after a day of driving. In this case, there is nothing more attractive than falling asleep. Aaron opened his suitcase and took out a small soft bed from it. Abe put it in carefully, and then covered it with a towel. then he changed into his pajamas and lay down on the bed. As soon as he closed his eyes, he felt boundless drowsiness, but at this moment, he suddenly realized that he hadn't signed in today, so he hurriedly opened his eyes. System, sign in. Aaron said silently in his heart. Congratulations to the host for signing in at Hogwarts and getting 10 magic points. How much? Aaron immediately felt relieved. To be honest, he also thought that Hogwarts sign-in rewards would be relatively generous, but his psychological expectation was 5 magic points. It has even increased to 5 times the usual level, which is really surprising. The host heard correctly, 10 magic points, 2 digits. In addition, Hogwarts has a special meaning in this world. The first time you sign in, you can activate the system task function. After completing the task, you can get magic points and various magic props. Is the host enabled? Turn it on, it must be turned on. Aaron shouted from the bottom of his heart with a surge of emotion. After 3 years, he finally saw a path that would save many years of struggle. It is impossible to give up like this. Okay, now release the 3 system tasks for the host's first school year. Helping Slytherin win the Academy Cup, completing the mission rewards 500 magic points, and there is no penalty for mission failure. Will the host accept it? Accept. Aaron didn't hesitate. This task was nothing to him. Slytherin is synonymous with excellence in Hogwarts. He has won the House Cup for 6 consecutive times. Maybe the 7th one won't be needed. He worked hard and took the task reward while lying down, accredited by at least 3 professors. Completing the mission rewards 500 magic points, and there is no penalty for mission failure. Will the host accept it? Accept. Aaron still didn't hesitate. The professors at Hogwarts said that there are not many, and there are definitely not many. It is not difficult to get the recognition of the 3 professors with his talent, kill Voldemort's remnant soul. 1,000 magic points will be rewarded for completing the task, and 500 magic points will be deducted for failure of the task. Will the host accept it? This. Aaron hesitated now. It is true that Voldemort is very weak now, but it is definitely not something he can handle as an intermediate magician, and even reaching the level of an advanced magician may not be. Others' opponents, so the possibility of failure is very high. System, can I ask someone to help me with this task? Yes, but the host must participate in it, and the contribution level exceeds 50%, otherwise it will be judged as a mission failure. Okay. Accept. Aaron said firmly. As the saying goes, wealth and wealth are found in danger. At worst, 2 professors will be recruited at that time, and I don't believe that he might be able to deal with a remnant of his soul. In other words, who is Voldemort's remnant soul attached to now? I remember a certain professor came. It's difficult to deal with. When choosing teammates, you have to pay attention to whether there are any traitors in it. The next morning, Aaron opened his eyes. He slept very soundly last night. Maybe it was because the new check-in location gave him too much surprise, maybe it was because there was no alarm clock or Jeans knocking on the door, so he fell asleep until he woke up naturally. After changing into the wizard robe, Aaron looked at the sleeping baby dragon in the basket, and after thinking about it, he picked it up. Although it is not recommended to bring pets during class, this guy is a dragon after all. Even if a bay looks harmless to humans and animals, he doesn't worry about leaving him alone in the dormitory. What if he gets lost? Aaron, are you awake? Draco walked over with 2 confused attendants. Just woke up not long ago. Aaron nodded, and then he was a little surprised. Do you usually wake up so early? Barely force it. Draco proudly said, and then looked at the 2 fat guys behind him with a bit of anger. These 2 guys are lazy, and they woke up after shaking for a long time. But Aaron, didn't your parents arrange followers for you? Aaron froze for a moment, thinking of the chattering butler and the few groups of mages who followed him secretly. A wry smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Maybe there are, but I don't want them to disturb my campus life. What do you mean? I'm sorry I can't explain this, but the followers of our family may be a little different from what you understand. Draco nodded, half understood. Although he was a little curious in his heart, He wisely didn't ask any more questions. The four of them left the dormitory together, first went to the cafeteria to have breakfast, and then took the textbooks to the classroom of the transformation class. It's not time for class yet, or maybe they came earlier. There are not many students in the classroom except for a cat on the podium, apart from the two Gryffindors. There were only four of them in Slytherin. Aaron and Draco sat at a table, while Crabbe and Goyle took the seat behind them, of course. Aaron. Hermione pointed to Abe, who was placed on the table by Aaron, and was a little worried while being happy. Why did you bring it to the classroom? I can't help it. This guy is skinny, so I don't feel relieved to put it in the dormitory. Aaron said, I remember that the school doesn't seem to have a rule that students are not allowed to bring pets to class. It's okay. But it always feels a little impolite. Thank you for your concern. If necessary, I will find Professor McGonagall to explain. Abe is different. It is my family. It means a lot to me and even our family. Seeing that Aaron was so serious, Hermione couldn't say anything more, and looked at her textbook on her own. After hesitating for a moment, Draco whispered to Aaron, I checked with someone yesterday, and Granger's parents are both Muggles. Well, what's the matter? Draco's eyes widened instantly. His expression was very surprised. You know, why are you still friends with her, a mudblood? Hush. Keep your voice down. Aaron hurriedly covered Draco's mouth, but it seemed that it was a step too late, because several people in the classroom heard it, including Hermione Granger. The little girl seemed to have been greatly wronged. Her breathing was choked, her eyes were red, but she tried her best not to cry. Crabbe and Goyle just looked on, and even the only Gryffindor in the classroom didn't know how to comfort her. Hermione, don't be angry. Aaron was at a loss. It was the first time he had faced a girl's tears when he was so old. He didn't know how to explain it, and finally sighed, leave it to me. I put Abe here with you first. Aaron put Abe on Hermione's table directly, and after having a super cute cat, Hermione's mood improved slightly. Aaron breathed a sigh of relief, turned his head to look at the indifferent Draco, and said lightly, apology. Why? Am I wrong? She really doesn't deserve to be your friend. Draco said with a look of resentment, as if he was dissatisfied with Aaron's defense of this mudblood. Draco, noble blood is no excuse for your contempt, and how I make friends and what kind of friends I make seems to have nothing to do with you. Aaron said patiently. But she. Draco also found himself unreasonable. He is indeed not qualified to meddle in Aaron's affairs, but asking him to apologize to a mudblood, not to mention his pride won't allow it, and neither will his father will allow. I can't apologize to a mudblood. I knew you would say that. Aaron shook his head helplessly, and said, let's do it. Let's make a small bet. No need to apologize as long as your grades are better than Hermione's this semester, and I owe the Malfoys a favor on behalf of the Gaius family, but if your grades are not as good as Hermione's, then apologize to her and never mention the word mudblood in the future. How about it? Chapter 20 Performance in Transfiguration Class. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Draco was stunned. Not only him, but everyone else in the classroom was also stunned. What no one noticed was that the pupils of the cat on the podium also shrank slightly, as if someone had stepped on its tail. None of them thought that Aaron would do this for a Gryffindor girl. This was a favor given in the name of the family. If this favor is used well, it can even play a considerable role in the future. The favor of a family of hidden magicians is not just for fun. How about it? Do you agree to make this bet with me? Aaron asked confidently. He was sure that Draco could not refuse. Agreed. How could you disagree? But, Aaron, are you serious? I believe in my vision. Hermione's background may not be noble, but she is definitely the best wizard I have ever seen. But before the end of this term, I ask you to show some respect to Hermione, which you can always do. Okay, no problem. Draco said happily. After finishing Draco, Aaron walked up to Hermione. Now you can calm down. I gave you a chance to prove yourself openly. Yeah. Hermione nodded, and asked a little nervously, in case I let you down, I mean in case I lose. You won't lose. You may only be a little weaker than me in terms of learning. What if? Hermione said, It was the first time in her life that she had doubts about her abilities. Don't worry about this, even if you lose, Draco will restrain himself a lot, at least he won't use the word mudblood casually to insult people. As for the favor of the family, it doesn't matter, Malfoy sees the situation better than anyone else, and they will not make any demands that are difficult for others. Thank you, said Hermione, blushing, and handed Abe back to Aaron. Draco is actually not a bad person. It's just that his father has instilled too many thoughts related to bloodlines since he was a child, so he may be a little domineering. I don't think he can change it for a while. I hope you don't mind. After Aaron finished speaking, he walked up to another Gryffindor, this classmate. What's your name? Susan Bones. The girl blushed slightly and said with some embarrassment. Okay. I don't want this bet to be known by others, you should be able to keep it a secret. Susan kept nodding, indicating that she would never speak out. Thanks. As the time passed by, the students gradually arrived in the classroom and opened the books to start self-study. The strange thing is that Professor McGonagall did not appear even when it was class time. At this time, the classroom door was suddenly opened, and Harry and Ron ran in a panic. It's finally here. If she came a little later, her face would be terrifying. Ron said happily. The moment the voice fell, a cat on the podium jumped down and turned into Professor McGonagall in a green robe. She walked straight up to the two of them, and looked at the two late students playfully. This move is really clever. Ron said in a daze. He didn't know if he meant Professor McGonagall's transfiguration or using transfiguration to block them. Thank you for your comment, Mr. Weasley. Maybe I should turn Mr. Potter and you into a pocket watch, so at least one of you can keep time. We're lost, said Harry. Then it will become a map. Professor McGonagall said bluntly, you don't need a map in your seat. The two looked at each other and smiled wryly, then sat on an empty table. Now that everyone is here, let's start class. Transfiguration is the most complex and dangerous form of magic you will study at Hogwarts, said Professor McGonagall, and she gave Ron and Harry a glare. Anyone who misbehaves in my class, I'll ask him out and never let him in again. Aaron's face was a little weird, and so were Draco, Hermione and others. After all, although there was no problem with the bet between them, it would be different if there was one more professor in the know. At least the pressure on both parties would be greater. Professor, Aaron hesitated, hesitant to speak. I don't know what happened before the class. Do you understand the matter between you? Professor McGonagall said with a smile. Understood. Aaron nodded, relieved. Professor McGonagall began to give a lecture. Magic is not just waving a wand and chanting a spell. She talked about the theory for a long time, and checked the notes of a few students by the way. After confirming that there was no problem, she began to experiment with the transfiguration technique. Professor McGonagall waved his magic wand lightly, and the matchbox on the lecture table was opened, and the matches inside flew onto the desks of every student. Try it, everyone, and see if you can turn this match into a needle before get out of class is over. After the words fell, every student drew out their wands, eager to try, but the effect was not as good as they thought. Most people's matches didn't move. Hermione tried several times in a row, and the match gradually turned into a toothpick. Although it was a bit nondescript, at least it changed the match. Very good, Miss Granger. Professor McGonagall praised. Draco glanced at Hermione, a flash of stubbornness in his eyes, and swung his wand even harder. The match quickly changed, and the tail began to sharpen, but before he could be happy, the tip of the match began to smoke, and a small flame suddenly lit up, and then quickly extinguished. Mr. Malfoy, your performance is not bad, but it would be even better if you can control your emotions a little bit. Professor McGonagall smiled. Draco didn't speak, just stared at the match that was almost a quarter burned and sighed deeply. He has tried his best, at least better than most of the students including Harry Potter, but he also understands that he probably won't be able to beat Granger, a mudblood, in terms of transfiguration, but there are other things. There are so many courses in the school. He doesn't believe that he will be compared with a little girl everywhere. At this time, he noticed another match on the table, and looked at Aaron who was teasing the cat with some surprise. Don't you try it? Sorry, I just saw your hard work. Aaron waved his wand lightly, and lightly tapped on the match. The next moment, the shape of the match changed, the two sides began to sharpen rapidly, the middle also rapidly shrunk, and there was a small needle eye at the end. Although it is still made of wood, it can still be regarded as a wooden needle. This is amazing, you succeeded once. Draco said incoherently. Professor McGonagall came over when she heard the movement, and when she saw the wooden needle on the table, she showed a happy expression. It seems that Slytherin has received a very talented student this year. Baron Gaius, Slytherin plus 5 points. Professor McGonagall's voice was so clear that everyone in the classroom could hear it, and they all looked at Aaron enviously. Thank you, Professor, but can you teach me how to make it into iron? I'm afraid it won't work. I believe in your talent, but it's not something a freshman should do. Professor McGonagall smiled, and then turned the wooden needle into a match again. Before that, you need to change the object first. You need to master the magic of appearance thoroughly, so keep practicing. Okay. Aaron nodded regretfully, then waved his wand again, turned the match into a wooden chicken leg, and threw it in front of the pet. Abe became excited immediately, jumped to the chicken leg, and sniffed it with his nose, snapped. After a while, Abe showed an angry expression, and a white dragon claw patted the chicken leg straight into its original shape, leaving a shallow paw print on the table. Wow! Professor McGonagall looked at this scene in astonishment. I think I may have to take back what I just said. Mr. Gaius, you have already started in Transfiguration. But... Professor McGonagall pointed at Abe, who was harmless to humans and animals, and even grinned in pain because of excessive force when he slapped the table. Are you sure it's just an ordinary cat? Aaron immediately hugged Abe in his arms. Of course, I'm very sure.